Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. तब कथामृता तप्त जीवाना कविभिरीरिता कल्मषापहा। तब कथामृता तप्त जीवाना कविभिरीरिता कल्मषापहा। श्रवणमङ्गला श्रीमदातत भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना। श्रवणमङ्गला श्रीमदातत भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना। তবু কথামৃতা তপ্ত জীবন কবি ভীরিতা কলমশাপহ। শ্রবণ মঙ্গলা শ্রীমদাতত ভুবি গৃণন্তি যে ভূরিদা জনা। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So nice to meet all of you. Thank you very much for coming. So, the seminar, as you know, is on Krishna's pastimes. Last time I gave the seminar on Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And this time I thought of discussing about what Krishna did after he left Vrindavan. Somebody can pick up those Srimad Bhagavatam, just here. Krishna was in Vrindavan. It's okay. I'm sure all of you are aware that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How many of you are clear about that concept? That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because it's important to understand about Krishna's identity. Because unless and until we understand who Krishna is, we won't be able to appreciate Krishna's pastimes. In one hand, it may appear like Krishna is an ordinary human being like us, and all these activities that have been described in the scriptures, they're just fictional, they're just fictitious narrations. They're not, just like you hear about Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, Ant-Man. So, like it may appear that these activities that have been described in Bhagavatam and other scriptures are such exaggerated or fictitious descriptions, a product of somebody's fertile imagination. But when we recognize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one thing at least becomes clear in our minds, that Krishna can do anything. Like, you will hear about things like in Krishna's pastimes that someone attacked Krishna with 30 million soldiers. They were not ordinary soldiers. They were so powerful that they could even fight with the demigods. And they were not all foot soldiers. They were soldiers on horseback, soldiers on elephants, soldiers on chariots. Many of them could fight from the space. And such individuals with amazing ability to fight. And Krishna annihilated all that 30 million soldiers. Now, in one hand, it may appear that how is it possible that somebody can do such a thing? Yes, nobody can do such a thing, but Krishna can. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aren't you aware of the fact God said, "Let there be light," and there was light? Are you aware of the fact that when the Lord lies down on a causal ocean, and as he breathes, not only from his nose and mouth, but also from every pore of his body, the bubbles that are generated in causal ocean are the universes. The universe that we are residing in, like at least we are aware of one universe where we are. It is an universe. Now, how did this universe generate? How did this universe come about? How many of you know? Raise your hands. How many of you want to know? Okay. Krishna expands as Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and he lies in the causal ocean. There is a thing called causal ocean, ocean of cause. We know about the ocean of salt water, right? A great reservoir of water, a huge body of water that is called saltwater ocean. But there is an ocean of cause. Cause is a substance. Don't we say behind every action there must be some cause? Cause and effect. Everything happens due to some cause. So there is, and this cause is actually a substance, and there is an ocean of cause. Mahavishnu lies in that ocean. And as he breathes, not only from his nose and mouth, but as he breathes from every pore of his body, when you breathe underwater, what happens? You get bubbles. So similarly, when he breathes in the causal ocean, bubbles are generated. And each bubble is an universe. That is how the universe is created. Like this is how inconceivable is his ability. He glances towards material nature. By the way, material nature is a personality. And she is Krishna's external energy. She is known as Mahamaya. She is known as Durga, Kali, Chandi, etc. She is a person. Durga is a person. Who is Durga? She is the personification of the material nature. So Durga is a person. Krishna glances towards Durga or material nature, Mahamaya, and the creation begins. That's another aspect of the creation. Through his glance, the living entities are projected onto the material nature. We all came from the spiritual world. How did we come here? Through his glance. He glanced towards the material nature, we are projected. And that also came through a divine medium of another personality, who is Lord Shiva. We came into the material nature through Lord Shiva, which is actually Krishna's glance. Krishna's glance takes the shape in the form of time. Therefore, Lord Shiva is known as Mahakal, the great time. The time factor also is Lord Shiva. And through Lord Shiva, we all have come here. So material nature is the mother, and we have come through the father. Here we can consider that Lord Shiva is the father. Of course, Krishna is the father originally. He said in Bhagavad Gita, Tashang Brahma Mahajjonir Ahang Bija Pradapita. In that vast of Mother Nature, I am the seed-giving Father. So although Krishna is saying that I am the seed-giving Father, but Krishna doesn't do that directly. He does it through the agency of Lord Shiva. So it is important that we understand Krishna in truth. Tattvataha. Tattvataha means in truth. Like who he is. And because he looks like a human being, we may tend to think that he is a human being. A human being with some extraordinary power. But no, he is of different class, category altogether. We are living entities with a body made of matter. Whereas Krishna's body is not made of matter. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. His Vigraha, his form, is composed of three spiritual elements. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Eternity, knowledge and bliss. That's the difference. Our body is made of 5 material elements. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. With these 5 elements, this body is made. Out of these 5, the predominating element is actually water. How many of you know what's the percentage of water in the human body? Yes, about 80%. So it is predominantly it's a water body. Inside the body, it's all water, blood, pus, urine, and also the elements are predominantly like flesh and bones. Bones have more solid substance, but still it has water in it. So the 75% of the body is water, or 70 to 80%. So, and then we have fire. We can see, you can feel the fire. Then we are breathing, air, so forth. So our bodies are made of 5 elements, whereas Krishna's body is not made of material things, but it looks the same. Now, in that respect, we can consider one factor, one statement in Bible. Man has been created according to the image of God. So in a way we can see that they had the understanding that the ultimate form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is 2-armed. Generally people think that God has 4 arms, especially the followers of the Vedic understanding. But original form of the Lord is actually 2-armed. And very mercifully He has given us His form. Although made of matter, it looks the same. That's the difference. Looks the same, but not the same. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are living entities. So when we have that understanding clear, then only we can actually enter into the pastimes and activities of the Lord, not otherwise. Therefore, it has been pointed out that unqualified individuals should not dwell or delve into Krishna's pastimes. Because if he does, then he will think that Krishna is an ordinary person and he will create a great offense. Because Krishna's pastimes, because he is the supreme enjoyer, his pastimes are predominantly dealing with enjoyment. And one of the highest form of enjoyment is in his relationship with the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan. Krishna is a supreme male, and his pleasure potency, Srimati Radharani, is the supreme female. And the loving exchange between them can be quite misleading if we do not have the proper understanding who he is. But hearing these pastimes, we can actually understand who Krishna is. And that's why this seminar, that we get to understand, we get an opportunity to understand from the scriptures who he is, how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What's the difference between us and him? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna established his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a very wonderful way. In Bhagavad Gita, at the beginning, Krishna made the distinction between or difference between the body and the soul to Arjuna. That the body is like covering, like a dress, and the soul is the proprietor of the body. And then that he did in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, made Arjun understand, or through Arjun he made us understand what is the nature of the soul. The soul is never born. Rather, when the soul accepts a body, the body is born. Soul is never born. Soul is eternal. And the soul is immortal. Only when the soul leaves the material body, the body dies. The body is born when the soul accepts a new body, and the body dies when the soul gives up the old body. And as long as the soul is in the body, this body made of matter, the body made of dead matter is alive. Dead matter, matter doesn't have life. Matter can never be alive. Matter can never be conscious. Only due to the presence of the soul, that for the time being, the matter becomes, these material bodies become conscious or alive. So the soul is eternal, and then in the third chapter, Krishna explains the function or the duty, the responsibility of a living entity, what he should do. Then after explaining that, Krishna, in the fourth chapter, beginning of fourth chapter, Krishna says, I gave this knowledge first to the sun god, Vivashwan. Another thing to consider, the sun planet is not an empty place. Is not an empty glow, empty sphere of fire. No, sun planet, like Earth planet, is full of inhabitants. And just as Earth planet has a leader, the ruler, the king, the sun planet also has a king. And the king of the sun planet is known as Vivashwan. So Krishna says, I gave this knowledge first to Vivashwan. And Vivashwan gave it to his son Manu. Manu gave it to his son Ikshaku. And in this way, through a disciplic succession, meaning from the spiritual master to disciple, this knowledge had been flowing since time immemorial. So Arjuna naturally questioned, you are born just the other day, so how can I understand? And sun god, Vivashwan, appeared so many billions of years ago. How can I recognize, how can I understand that you gave him that knowledge? So Krishna's response to that was, Arjuna, there was never a time when you are not here, or I was not here, or these kings here will not be here. We have always been. Arjuna, you have taken birth many, many times, so did I. But about those births, you don't remember anything, whereas I remember everything. So in this way, Krishna is establishing the difference between Arjuna and him, between a living entity and him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We forget what to speak of previous birth. We even forget about what he did the previous day. So this is the extent of our memory. Whereas Krishna remembers everything. He remembers everything. With us, when we die, our memory is practically obliterated, wiped out completely. And in another body, when we begin from the scratch, begin from the beginning. And then we acquire all kinds of information in our memory about what we do, what we see. And then it is, again, when we leave the body, memory is wiped out. So that is the case with us. Whereas Krishna's case is different. He never forgets. And that is what makes him the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he pointed out that He is unborn. But although he is unborn, he takes birth just for the sake of displaying his pastimes. Why does he come? Why does he come to this material nature? He comes to material nature to re-establish dharma, the law and order that has been given by him. So in this way, Krishna established his identity. Does anybody have any doubt now about who Krishna is? Once again, how many of you have accepted wholeheartedly that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now, what Krishna do, can you do? Or can Krishna do all kinds of inconceivable things? So that is the thing. Krishna can do, Krishna's ability is inconceivable. Therefore, we should never question Krishna's ability. All it needs is simple intelligence. I said simple intelligence because there are two types of intelligence. One is simple intelligence, another is crooked intelligence. And the crooked intelligence will never be able to understand Krishna. They'll always doubt. They'll always doubt because they have put themselves in the center. They think that whatever they know, that is the ultimate. And they don't want to accept anything that is beyond their conceivable concept. In this respect, there is a very nice example given. Like, there is a frog in a well. And one frog came and told that frog of the well about the ocean. So the frog of the well asked him, how big is the ocean? He said, it's huge, it's endless, it's really inconceivable how big it is. So he said, oh, is it 10 times the size of this well? Is it 100 times the size of the well? Is the ocean 1,000 times the size of the well? Now, from the perspective of the well, can he ever measure the ocean? No. Similarly, with our limited material knowledge, we should never try to fathom the spiritual reality. It's beyond our intellectual ability. Therefore, the first consideration in this respect to accept this information is faith. Faith. Have implicit faith on the scriptures with a clear understanding that in the scriptures there is nothing but the truth and truth and nothing but the truth. Whatever has been spoken in the scriptures is absolute truth. In this respect, I remember my father's elder sister was very orthodox. And when she used to see us reading novels and fictions, she used to get very upset. And we couldn't understand why she used to get so upset. She used to strictly forbid us from reading those novels and fictions. I could understand why she did that only after I joined ISKCON. Then only it made the sense. Then only I realized that these fictions, what they're doing, they're giving us all kinds of fabricated stories. Whereas her understanding was clear that all the printed materials should deal with the truth and nothing but the truth. And that was the Vedic culture. That was the culture of India. I have personally experienced through my aunt That was how just few years back, that was the understanding. No printed material, no book should deal with anything but the truth. And that is the scriptures. That was the Vedic understanding. Whatever was presented in the form of the scriptures was dealing with the truth. But the British came and they introduced this. Then only it started. These fictions, writing fiction started only at that time. Otherwise you can go back. We had many illustrious authors, poets, dramatists. What did they write? They all wrote either about the Lord's pastimes or great personalities' pastimes. This place is famous for a great literary personality called Kalidas, great poet. Kalidas, all his writings, do you know what his writings are? One writing is Abhigyan Shakuntalam. You know the story of Shakuntala. So he wrote a drama on Shakuntala, but Shakuntala, the theme has been taken from Mahabharata. He didn't write about Batman and Superman. Or Romeo and Juliet. When you read Romeo and Juliet, you begin with the understanding that this is a fiction. It never happened. It's product of Shakespeare's fertile brain. It's a production of his imagination. Whereas, in early writings, they all actually were based on either some king's activities or the Lord's activities or Lord's devotees' activities. The activities of some illustrious person. Bikram Urvashya, another writing of Kalidas. King Vikramaditya's encounter with Urvashi. So, here we have to have this understanding clear, that whenever we are dealing with the Supreme Person, with these scriptures, we have to have that understanding clear, that they are dealing with the absolute truth. Especially the scriptures that are dealing with the Lord and His devotees. There may be some contradictions at times, but that also has been explained. Those contradictions are due to different kalpas. In some yuga, the Lord performed His pastimes in this way. In some other yuga, the Lord performed His pastimes in some other way. This is not dealing with just one yuga. We are actually dealing with, in a day of Brahma, there is 1,000 Chaturjugas. In a day of Brahma, there are 4,000 yugas. And the Lord is coming in every yuga. Not as Krishna, of course. As Krishna, He comes only once in a day of Brahma. So I just wanted to make this point clear. Right? You got it? Everyone got it? Don't ever doubt about Krishna's activities. Rather accept it with a simple faith that Krishna can do anything. Lord Ramchandra could do anything because He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A person who is situated in everyone's heart, what's so difficult for him to get married to 16,000 queens? A person who is situated in everybody's heart, one who has his personal dealing with everyone. Mind you, the Lord is in your heart. How many of you accept that point? And the Lord is allowing you to have your relationship with Him. A very special relationship. You have the prerogative. He has given you the prerogative. That's why He is there in your heart. He is offering you the opportunity. Develop your relationship with me. The way you want me, I'll appear to you in that way. And in that case, you can feel that the Lord is yours. That's how the gopis felt. When the Lord was dancing with 16,000 gopis, every gopi felt that, oh, Krishna is dancing only with me. When Krishna was dealing with his 16,000 queens, every queen thought that Krishna is only with me. I am his favorite. Krishna had his palace. Krishna had 16,000 palace for his 16,000 queens. And Krishna expanded himself into 16,000 forms to deal with them personally. And everyone was thinking that Krishna is always with me. I am so fortunate. Although I am one of the 16,000, but Krishna is with me all the time, and I pity those other 15,999 queens. Krishna is never with them, He is always with me. So this is how the Supreme Personality of Godhead could deal with every single queen, with every single gopi. And in this way, the Lord is actually telling us that you also can develop your relationship with me. I'm yours. That's the point He is making. I'm yours. And He is waiting for us to develop that relationship with Him. Okay, so Krishna, now again, who is Krishna? This is another thing, and just briefly I'll discuss. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, what is the relationship between a living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? It has been pointed out that if you consider the sun has many rays. Sun has innumerable rays. But those rays are tiny little suns. All the qualities of the sun is there, but in a minute way. The sun has light. Sun is the source of light, and the sun is the source of heat. A ray also has the light and heat. But only thing is the sun is whole and the ray is a part. So that is the relationship between us and Him. And when the ray, just consider, a ray becomes separated from the sun, then what will happen? Will the ray retain its fiery qualities? If an example in that respect can be considered, a spark. When the spark comes out of the fire, can the spark retain its fiery qualities? What happens when the spark comes out of the fire? It gets extinguished. It loses its fiery qualities. And just next to fire is ash. So falling on a heap of ash, the speck of inflammable particle that was the spark, now it turned into ash. So similarly, when we become separated from Krishna, then we lose our spiritual qualities. And falling on this world of matter, we become matter. We identify ourselves with matter. Is that example clear? So when we become separated from Krishna, we lose our spiritual qualities, and that's why we begin to identify ourselves with matter, thinking that this body made of matter is me. Now see, the inflammable particle that was a spark at one time, when you take it back into fire, what happens? It'll become fire again. So we have become materialized. We have materialized because we have become separated from Krishna. Now, if we want to be spiritualized, what should we do? Become connected to Krishna. So, all these efforts that we are making is simply for the sake of that. To revive our spiritual identity. And the way to do it is by developing our relationship with Krishna. Now, consider how relationships develop. We established that point, that developing our relationship with Krishna. How does relationship develop? What is the main factor for developing relationship? Anybody? Love. Right. Love. It is through love that we develop relationship. If you don't love somebody, do you have any relationship with that person? If you hate somebody, do you have any relationship with? No. So love is the factor that enables us to develop relationship. Love is the factor that brings us together. So if we want to become connected to Krishna, what do we need to do? Develop our love for Krishna. So again, all that we are doing is simply to enable everyone to develop his or her love for Krishna. And again, what actually causes us to love somebody? Did you consider that? Okay, there are 6 things, 6 qualities that attract us. That love and attraction are related. We love something that we are attracted to. We love somebody we are attracted to. So the attractive aspect there are 6 aspects of attraction. Beauty. When someone is very beautiful, don't we fall in love with that person? Then, wealth. When somebody is very rich, don't we want to fall in love with that person? When someone is very powerful, don't we want to love that person? Don't we become attracted to that person? When someone is very wise, very knowledgeable, don't you become attracted to him and fall in love with him? If someone is very famous, don't you fall in love with him? And if someone is very detached, very renounced, don't we develop our appreciation and attraction for him? So how many did you get? Did you count? 6. No, 6. Beauty, strength, knowledge, fame, opulence, and renunciation. So, and now, mind you, Krishna has all these 6 qualities to an absolute extent. He is the most beautiful, he is the most powerful. Don't you say God is omnipotent? Omnipotent means all-powerful. Don't you say God is omniscient? That means God knows everything. He is the wisest. He is full of knowledge, absolute knowledge. And omnipresent. He is present everywhere. That's how he is aware of everything. He is the most famous. Most of the people don't know, other than the followers of Vedic culture, that he is the most opulent. He owns everything. Everything belongs to God. And at the same time, he is the wisest And he is the most famous, and he is most detached, most renounced. Anyway, so these are the natural features of attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord comes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. And he comes only once in a day of Brahma. And a day of Brahma consists of 1000 Chaturjugas. 1000 Chaturjugas means 4 Jugas put together. Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. All these 4 Yugas put together comes to 4.32 million years. And 1000 such Chaturjugas make a day of Brahma. That is 4.32 billion years is a day of Brahma. And once in a day of Brahma, Krishna comes, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead? The original Supreme Personality of Godhead is the son of Nanda Maharaj and Jashoda. And he always resides in Vrindavan. But then his expansion, he expands. Like we gave the example of the sun expands into many suns. All those suns will have the same quality, same power, same characteristics. One becomes 2, becomes 20, 200, 2000, and so forth. But they are all the same sun. This is how Krishna expands himself. Krishna's first expansion is in Dwarka. That is, in Dwarka, Krishna is son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And he has the 4 aspects, the quadruple, Chaturbuha, the quadruple expansions. Krishna is Vasudeva, Balaram is Shankarshan, then Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So Krishna performed his wonderful pastimes in Vrindavan. Then he left Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, what Krishna was doing? Krishna was playing with the cowherd boys during the day, and Krishna was playing with the cowherd girls at night. Is there anything wrong if Krishna dances with the gopis at night? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like in that respect, I heard one encounter that Srila Prabhupada had with one Indian scholar in Philadelphia. That person was an Indian, he was a Bengali, a professor. And he was talking to Srila Prabhupada, and he was telling that Krishna's activities were immoral. Because the way he dealt with the gopis, the Prabhupada was trying to explain that for Krishna there is nothing immoral. Because he is the supreme proprietor. So if the owner enjoys something, can there be anything wrong in that? No, because he owns and the owner has a natural right over enjoying his possessions. And that man would not listen, but just continued to argue. Then finally Prabhupada just told him quite strongly, your relationship with your wife is immoral. He said, you have taken Krishna's property and trying to enjoy her. So ultimately, Krishna is the supreme proprietor. And of course, don't worry about it. Like in the material nature, Krishna allows living entities to go through certain experiences. But then that's why there is a consideration of social approval. A man and woman, when they get together, there is a consideration of marriage. And through marriage, they take up the responsibility. What's the purpose of marriage? Procreation. Putrarthe kriyate bharja. One accepts his wife for the sake of procreation. And that follows certain social convention, social custom. And that's why it is accepted. In the human society, a man and woman get together with the social approval through marriage. But for Krishna, who is the supreme proprietor, there is no such consideration. He can do anything that he wants. And we have to see why Krishna is Krishna is God. Because he lifted Giri Govardhan when he was 7 years old. Who can lift a mountain? And not only lift a mountain, keep holding there for 7 days, and that also on his little finger. Of that also his left hand. So Krishna can do that. Therefore he is Giri Baradhari. He can do that, only he can do that. And that is why he is Gopijana Ballabha. He can dance with the gopis and he can sport with the gopis. He's a Gopijana Ballabha because he's a Giri Baradhari. Now if you can be Giri Baradhari, then you also can be Gopijana Ballabha. But first you become Giri Baradhari and then you become Gopijana Ballabha. So that is how we have to see that whatever Krishna does is perfectly all right. And that is what he did in Vrindavan. Actually, what was the thing? What was the relationship? The relationship was actually based on they wanted Krishna. And Krishna fulfilled their desires. Krishna fulfills his desires. Whoever wants something, Krishna fulfills his desire. Those who wanted to have Krishna as their object of love, Krishna fulfilled their desires. That is that is most wonderfully manifest in Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. There is no consideration of what people will think. That's why in Vrindavan, Krishna is the Leela Purushottam. Leela Purushottam. Leela means he's acting the way he wants. He doesn't care about what people may think about him. This is moral, this is immoral. Krishna's consideration in that respect is, okay, you get lost. I don't care about what you think. I am simply reciprocating with my dear devotees. The way they want me, I am simply responding to their desire. And that is Krishna's mood in Vrindavan. Now, can there be anything inappropriate in that? No. So, Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan in a most wonderful way. There are two aspects of Krishna's pastimes. He is giving pleasure to his devotees and he is annihilating the demons. Giving pleasure to his devotees. Devotees wanted him in a certain way. Krishna said, fine. Like many gopis in Vrindavan wanted to have Krishna as their son. Krishna fulfilled their desire. For 1 year, Krishna expanded himself into all the cowherd boys. So the mothers got Krishna as their son for that 1 year. Not even the mothers, even the cows desired, oh, I wish Krishna could be my calf. So Krishna fulfilled the desires of those calves also by just expanding, just becoming the calves for that 1 year. Just occurred to me, does everybody know about that pastime? Who doesn't? You know. Why are you raising your hand? Anyway, let me put it this way. Who want to hear about this pastime? Okay, that's better. So, one day, there's a demon called Aghasura, a friend of Kamsa, came to Vrindavan to kill Krishna in the form of a gigantic python. And the snake was on the way where the cowherd boys would be going to the pasturing ground. So, and the boys, mind you, they're just 5, 6 years old boys. They saw the wide open mouth of the serpent, whose lower jaw was touching the ground and the upper jaw was touching the sky. Such a huge serpent. And the boys thought, oh, this is a new cave that we never seen before. So let's find out. Let's explore this cave. And they just rushed into the mouth of the demon. Then Krishna realized that this is a demon called Aghasura, who assumed the form of a snake. And now all the boys have entered into the mouth along with the cows. So what to do? How to save them? And the Aghasura was just waiting also for Krishna to enter into the mouth. Then he would close his mouth and swallow them, kill them. So finally Krishna thought the only way to save them is that I enter into the mouth of that demon. So as soon as Krishna entered into the mouth of Aghasura, Aghasura closed his mouth. But then Krishna expanded his body. Can Krishna do that? So large that the snake couldn't swallow and he got stuck in his neck. And then Krishna started to emanate heat, an inconceivable heat from his body. Can Krishna do that? Okay. So, and then Aghasura, see, mind you, like the heat is coming out of Krishna's body, it become unbearable. So what he would naturally try to do? That get rid of Krishna. But Krishna got so badly stuck on his throat that he couldn't get Krishna out of his throat. And Aghasura started to writhe in pain, started to flip his body in acute agony. And he could not leave his body because the soul, to leave his body, had to come out of some hole. Now Krishna is stuck on his throat. So eventually Aghasura left his body from the top of his head. And after he left his body, Aghasura's soul just stayed suspended in the space for a while, until Krishna came out of his mouth. And when Krishna came out of his mouth, Aghasura's soul entered into Krishna's body. Brahma was watching that, and he began to wonder who that is. That Aghasura was so powerful that demigods used to just tremble with fear just hearing his name. Aghasura was so powerful that no demigod, including even Lord Shiva, could deal with him. So they began to wonder, who is this boy that killed Aghasura so easily? And Aghasura's soul entered into his body. Who this person is? Is he my Lord and Master Narayan? And so Brahma started to watch the cowherd boys, Krishna, along with the cowherd boys. After killing Aghasura, rescuing his friends and the cows, Krishna came to the bank of Jamuna and they sat down to eat their breakfast. Everyone brought some food from his home and they led the calves to graze in the field. And then Brahma saw that these boys are surrounding Krishna and having their breakfast. Different boys brought different things from his home. And as they took something, and if they liked it, they would just offer it to Krishna. Krishna, see how wonderful this gulab jamun is that my mother made. So Krishna, taste it, see how wonderful it is. And Krishna is eating it. Some other boy said, look at the kheer kadam that my mother made. And Krishna is eating. So Brahma saw that Krishna is eating the contaminated remnants of other cowherd boys, which is called, in Hindi, it's called jutha. Jutha. Jutha kha raha hai. Now he felt that how can Narayan take somebody else's jutha? Everyone takes Narayan's prasad, but here Narayan is taking their prasad. So this can't be Narayan. Or Brahma began to wonder whether this is Narayan. So then Brahma decided to test him out, to check him out. So Brahma stole the calves and took all the calves and put them in a cave. Then all of a sudden the cowherd boys saw that the calves are not there. So they became worried. So Krishna consoled them, don't worry, they may have gone inside the forest, so I'll just go and bring them. So you continue with your breakfast. So then when Krishna went and looked for the calves and couldn't find them, but when he came back, he found that the cowherd boys are also missing. So Brahma stole the cowherd boys also and put them in the mountain cave. And so Krishna came back and he saw that the boys are also missing. So then Krishna considered, Krishna thought, Krishna just looked at what actually happened in the perspective of time, and he saw what happened. That how Brahma was trying to check him out. And he stole the cowherd boys and the calves. So immediately Krishna expanded himself into all those cowherd boys and to all those calves. Brahma turned around and saw the same scene. But it took Brahma to turn back and take 1 second. And that was 1 second, according to Brahma's calculation, is 1 year from our time concept. So for 1 year, Krishna expanded himself into all those cowherd boys and into all those calves. Now the question is, why Krishna did that? Of course, this is the pastimes are called Brahma Mohan Leela, or bewildering Lord Brahma. But it's also, the purpose of this pastimes was that, as I said, many gopis wanted to have Krishna as their son. And even the cows wanted Krishna to be their calf. So Krishna fulfilled their desires by becoming the children of those gopis and the calves of those cows. And for 1 year they had Krishna as their son, although they were seeing that it was her son, it was their sons, but actually they felt an incredible affection for them, for the children, that they didn't feel before. Even there, for their own children, they did not feel that affection. Because it was Krishna whom they wanted. So this is how, through these pastimes, Krishna was actually fulfilling the desires of different devotees in Vrindavan. Also, the devotees desired, the cowherd boys used to be with Krishna during the day. But at night, they had to go home. And at night, the gopis used to be with Krishna, and during the day, they couldn't get Krishna's association. Mother Jashoda and Nanda Maharaj would feel that Krishna goes with the calves to the grazing ground, to the pasturing ground, spends the whole day, and they don't get Krishna's association so much. So everyone wanted to have Krishna's association throughout the day and throughout the night. The gopis desired, Krishna is with us only during the night, but during the day he is not with us. The cowherd boys felt that Krishna is with us during the day and at night we don't get his association. Therefore Krishna performed his Govardhan pastimes. He lifted Govardhan, held it for 7 days, and everyone got Krishna's association for 7 days, throughout the day, throughout the night. So this is how Krishna actually used to fulfill the desire of all the residents of Vrindavan. And that's why Krishna is Leela Purushottam. So I'll start what Krishna did after that, after leaving Vrindavan in the afternoon today, in the afternoon session. If anybody has any question, can ask. Preferably by writing. Okay. Nailesh.
One session also you said that when the soul is body, whatever he learned has lost. Same way when he, after the world, he came to know about Krishna long time. Krishna is to the Lord. So he leaves the body and he is not then related, like doesn't go to Dham. So what will happen to the next body when he will know the Krishna is Lord?
I couldn't get the question. What is your question? Okay, somebody left his body.
So the education.
And then what happened? After he left his body, then what?
He forgets whatever he learned in this life.
Okay.
Because his mind is in the next body. So in this material world, we just now we came to know the Lord. Krishna is a superpower. So what will happen? Suppose he is unable to get to the Vrindavan Dham after he leaves the body in this life. So whether he'll be knowing next body with that whether Krishna is a supreme Lord, or starts with from there, or he has to again get back to.
A good point. It's said that, you see, if someone practices Krishna consciousness and did not complete his, did not go back to Godhead, then whatever he has acquired will remain with him. All the devotion or spiritual credit that he acquired will stay with him. And in his next life, when he begins, he will begin from the point where he ended in his previous life. And this is how he'll continue to progress towards a spiritual goal. You get the point? That all our spiritual credits, will never go in vain. There is no loss or diminution. It will always be with us. Another consideration is that for a devotee who surrendered himself to Krishna, it's up to Krishna to decide what he wants to do with him. Because whatever Krishna wants, whatever Krishna does, is for one's ultimate benefit. Okay? Therefore, you can rest assured that whatever you're doing for your spiritual advancement, for your spiritual progress, will not go in vain. It will be with you all the time. Okay? Another way of looking at it is also, you see, material things that we acquire is in relation to material body. So when the body is gone, everything is lost. You see, our learning, our wealth, all that we have acquired in this life, at the time of death, we have to leave them behind. Right? Because they were in relation to the body. That's why it's all finished. Whereas our spiritual credits are with the spirit soul. And since the spirit soul is eternal, those credits also will remain with the spirit soul all the time, because they are in relation to the spirit soul. Any other question?
मेरा क्वेश्चन मैं हिंदी में पूछ सकती हूँ। शायद स्टूपिड लगेगा कुछ, मुझे पता नहीं, पर मेरे कई दिनों से ये ख्याल आता है मेरे मन में। जैसे कृष्ण है, उससे हम प्रीच करते हैं कि आप सब उनसे प्यार कीजिए, जैसे हम प्रीच करने जाते हैं। पर हमारा जो मटेरियल रिलेशन है, तो उसमें क्यों हमें जेलस आ जाती है? हमको जैसे फ्रेंड हुए या कोई भी उसको शेयर करना नहीं चाहते, वो हमारे तक ही सीमित रहनी चाहिए। और कृष्ण को हम प्यार करते हैं तो हम कहते हैं और भी प्यार करो, आप भी प्यार करो। क्या ये क्यों ऐसे होता है? हमारे मटेरियल रिलेशन में हम इतने क्यों बाउंड हैं?
That means your family, that materially those who are related, they are not accepting.
नहीं, मतलब उनको हम किसी के साथ में समझो दो फ्रेंड है, कोई तीसरी फ्रेंड उससे प्यार करती है, हमको लगता है क्यों वो उससे प्यार करती है, मुझसे ही प्यार करनी चाहिए। जबकि हम कृष्ण को कहते हैं कि आप सब उनसे प्यार कीजिए, हम प्रीच करने जाते हैं जो भक्ति, हम सबसे कहते हैं कि भक्ति करो। पर यहाँ के रिलेशन में हम कुछ ईर्ष्या आती है, क्यों इस तरह से होता है?
तो कृष्ण को प्यार करने से भी गुस्सा आता है जब कृष्ण और किसी को प्यार करता है। वो होता है, ऐसा होता है। जब राधा रानी सुनती हैं कि कृष्ण और किसी को प्यार करता है तो उसका बहुत गुस्सा होता है। The question is that in our material relationships, when we love somebody and that person loves someone else, then we become envious. Now, do we also become equally envious when we develop our love for Krishna? But on the other hand, what we do, we are telling everybody you love Krishna. That is because you are very generous. So you want to share your love with those who you love. But when it comes to this aspect, this situation or this level, when that intense loving relationship develops, then yes, one feels jealous about Krishna also. Like when Radharani gets to know that Krishna had an affair with someone else, then she gets really upset. But that is love. Love's nature is like that. But that kind of loving exchange or that kind of loving anger is possible only for Radharani to display. And our understanding is Krishna is Radharani's. So our business is to bring Radharani and Krishna together. We do not want to cut Radharani off and enjoy Krishna ourselves. No. Does it answer your question? It still looks like you're not satisfied with the answer. Okay. Yes, Radhaperi?
Much as at the beginning of the lecture you were explaining that written literature should always state the truth of our history, of our scriptures. And recently, in past few years, there is a book called the Shiva Trilogy. It's written by a Varanasi scholar, and the book explains like that everything is fiction, but the characters are Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, and means it says that Lord Shiva was not God, he was an ordinary person, he means so many fictitious things, and all the university students are crazy about that book, and they will tell you also, you should read that book, it's fantastic, and that. So what should devotees do in this situation?
Well, you said it. You said it. They're crazy. So what a madman, there's a saying, what a madman will not do and what a goat will not eat. But those who are sane, they'll throw that book to Varanasi Ganga. So see, this is the thing, people, they just want to, create some sensation by writing something, crazy individuals go crazy about it. So there's nothing surprising. But those who are sane, as I said, they won't even go very far. Even Varanasi, the Ganga is flowing, so they'll take the book and throw it there. Okay? And at least you can do that. Is there any question there? Yes.
Maharaj, I have a question regarding surrendering yourself to Krishna.
Yes, regarding?
Surrendering yourself to Krishna.
Surrendering.
Krishna says to surrender yourself completely to me. I will give you total protection. Now, he also takes care of our past sins. Now, does it also mean all the prarabdha karma, those karmas which are, those things which are notified? Does it take care of those?
Yeah. Like when Krishna says, I'll take care of all your sinful, I'll free you, I'll deliver you from all your sinful reactions. He is taking care of kutang, bijang, phalan, mukham, everything. All the prarabdhas and aprarabdha. But there is one consideration also. You see, that also will depend upon the degree of our surrender. Right? Like if we are, we may say that we are surrendering, but if our surrender is only 10%, then it won't be complete complete wiping out of the sins. Right? Total obliteration of sins will take place when there is total surrender. You get the point? But it doesn't matter. Our business is to surrender, and we have to have that faith that when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of all our sinful reactions.
Does it mean that Atma-nivedana means the total surrender?
Yeah. To Atma-nivedana means offering self, but then again, it will depend upon the degree of one's surrender. But it will ultimately lead to Atma-nivedana is the process of surrendering the self, but which will ultimately lead to total surrender.
When you take total surrender, does it mean that you should not have any kind of material desires?
Yeah, yes, naturally. But total surrender would mean total dependence upon Krishna. that Goptritte Baran, accepting Krishna as my only Lord and Master. And Abhashya Rakhibe Krishna Bishyash Palan. Rakshishita iti Bishyasha Goptritte Varanam Tatha. That he will protect me because he is my Lord and Master. Doesn't an ordinary Lord and Master or take care of his servant? So what to speak of the Supreme Lord? When we surrender to him, when we become his servant, won't he take care of us? Yes, he will.
The same result is achieved by saying Hare Krishna Mahamantra as I say.
Yes, yes. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the process through which we are surrendering to him. Because why you just consider why you are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because Krishna said. So it's an indication. Why you are chanting? Because Krishna. So these are the different stages of sinful activity, sinful reactions. But Krishna's thing is, it wipes out everything, provided we surrender properly. So, yeah, you have a question? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is related to how our philosophy compares to the other religions in the world. For example, today is Christmas, and we all know that Christianity is the largest religion in the world, and more people believe that Christ is the Son of God more than anyone else. So how is Krishna philosophy compared to the mass other religions in the world? And how are we going to say that?
Okay, good point. Like Christianity, as you mentioned, believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Then automatically the question comes, who is God the Father? Who is God the Father? Christianity doesn't provide that answer. But we have the answer. That's Krishna. So, we're not contradicting anything. Only thing is that at a lower level, you have less information. And when you go to the higher level, you get more informations. And the Vedic concept is the highest level of spiritual understanding. Whereas Christianity is a very, preliminary level. Love thy father, Lord the God, and so forth. But, how can you love unless and until you get the information about that person, unless you get to know the person? So they are saying, love thy father, Lord the God, but there is no information about God. And that is the problem with Christianity. At least in Christianity they are saying, love thy father, Lord the God. But Islam, don't even think about him. To think about him is blasphemy. So this is how you can see, how basic their understanding of God is. On the other hand, when you come to Krishna consciousness, when you get to the essence of the Vedic wisdom, what we are saying, if you want to know, what Prabhupada is saying, if you want to know about God, come to me. I can tell you what he looks like, I can tell you what his name is, I can tell you what he does, I can tell you where he lives, and I can even give you his telephone number. So that you can contact him. So that is the extent of the Vedic information.